women fans are uncontrollable. Um, just either from touching me inappropriately or just trying to throw themselves at me. Like one girl was overtly just like, yo, um, I was in Atlanta and she was like, and I have a song called Round Trips to Atlanta. And I also have a song called Georgia because I love Atlanta. I love Georgia. She was like, you need to stop fucking with these Atlanta bitches. Unless it's me, I'll fuck you right. I was like, oh my God, you gotta chill, bro.
Wait, I really wish you well. That's if you couldn't tell.
You're watching Loud Music Only. I'm your host, A.T Bianco. And today we're joined by a talented artist out of Katy, Texas. He's probably your girlfriend's favorite artist, and he's bringing crying back to R&B. The very talented, one and only Dende. Dende, how are you today? Thanks for being with us.
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm starting my day off right, getting to speak with you. I'm a big fan of yours, and we're going to get into talking about your music you dropped this year, maybe a few years prior. But first, I'd like to just start by asking anyone I talk to how their day's going. Where are you at in life right now? How busy are you? What's been going on?
My day's going good so far. I just started like an hour ago. I'm not gonna lie. It's I'm in LA, so it's like 9. Um, uh, I'm just kind of been moving around a whole lot recently, so it feels a little bit good to stay in one place for a second. I'm leaving again in like 2 weeks, but it's been kind of hectic. Been trying to get ready to make another project, so I'm thankful for the space that I'm allowed to be in right now. I've gone back to Texas twice. I've gone to Florida to go work on a video with another artist that's with CXR, Eric Officer. I went to Louisiana. Yeah, I just been kind of moving around.
I've seen on your Instagram and socials, you guys are a part of CXR, correct? Can you just quickly talk about CXR and what that is and how it started?
CXR is a management group, um, functions as a label sometimes. The artists that we have is me, Chris Patrick, and Erica Officer. And then production wise, we have Billy Blunt, who's my main producer. He's also from Texas. And then we have like the administration side, which is Noah Nawabi is the main manager. He's like the day-to-day person. We have Colin. He does marketing and anything else you need him to do. He's amazing. We have Austin, who also does marketing. We have Miz, who's the A&R. Um, Basically, that it started. Chris and Miz and another person actually started CXR, I believe 2017. They were working with different artists. I got with them maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2 years ago. That's when I started working with CXR.
So, one person that you've collaborated with a few times is Chris Patrick
Mhm.
on songs like Wish You Well, Stuck in Your Ways, Phone Number, Dark Skin. There's a plethora of songs and collaborations with you two. Talk about how those songs came to life. Do you have a particular favorite? And maybe discuss the synergy that you two have when collaborating.
Chris is the homie. Chris is the reason why I'm in CXR. Like right before the pandemic, or maybe the very beginning of it, I remember seeing this video of him sitting in front of like a computer, and he's like singing his song 3 a.m. The song wasn't out yet, but it was just playing and he was singing to it. And I remember DMing him and being like, yo, this is really fire. I want to work with you. Eventually, like we made Dark Skin. Dark Skin is actually the first song we ever made, but Phone Number came out first.
Okay.
um, it's really easy work with him because, like, first of all, we're friends. Like, I can talk to him about anything. He talked to me about anything. Um, and then when it comes to working, he is one of my favorite artists because he's one of the most talented people I know. Like, he can out rap pretty much anybody, but he's also really good at making songs. Like he's a very good songwriter. He understands how to make a song. And that's one thing I really appreciate because a lot of people that just be rapping, I'm not trying to like be weird, but like a lot of people that would just be rapping aren't good at making a song. And we gotta make songs. And he's very good at making a song. I would say my favorite collaboration with him isn't even a song where we're both on it. It's something he wrote. He wrote a song and he was like, I want you to sing this. Um, and it's probably gonna be on my next project. Uh, but I like it a lot. I like it a whole lot.
I want to kind of pick your brain about young Dende and what that was like growing up in Texas. What inspired you to start making music and what your upbringing was like?
So when I was younger, I grew up. My dad was a pastor, so I grew up in the church choir. I played drums for the church choir. I was in band all through like sixth grade until sophomore year of college. Like I was just always around music. When I went to college, I went on a vocal performance scholarship. Like I never even was in like school choir at all, but I got like I was a vocal performance major in college, so like I got a scholarship to do that, which was really cool. Mostly my upbringing was my parents kind of like, thankfully enough, they were in a well enough situation when I got a little bit older to put me in as many things as possible, to see what stuck. Like I played every sport and I wasn't good at any of them. I was in band. I got pretty good at that. And like music really stuck. Like they kind of always instilled in me to do something and find that thing that you're good at and just stick to it. And it's been working out pretty well for me so far.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So I always love to hear just the origin story and the lore of an artist, for example. And I'm sure some of those sports that you played kind of taught you some lessons growing up, maybe about yourself or how to work with a team and collaborate. What was your favorite sport that you played, and what would you say is your fondest memory from playing sports?
My favorite for sure to play was basketball. I played non-team sports too, like tennis, but basketball is really good because I was never like the best, but the coaches would love me because I worked hard. Like I work hard. Even if I'm not the best at shooting, I'm gonna play defense and I'm gonna make sure we get the ball back. I'm gonna get the boards. So like I don't know. I just feel like I don't have a specific memory from growing up playing basketball, but I just do remember just making sure that I was outworking people that were just naturally talented.
And I'm sure when it comes to singing in the gospel choir, after hearing your voice, and anyone who's listening to your music would expect that, I'm sure they gave you your fair share of solos in the choir. What was that like singing? And what would you say is maybe the most valuable thing you learned like technically when singing? It could be learning how to breathe more when you're singing, or maybe some stage presence. Walk me through what that was like for the young version of you.
Younger me was just being confident, honestly. That's what that taught me. I didn't really get a bunch of technical lessons or abilities from like being in the church choir. It did teach me how to be more confident in my voice and how I sang and like how to do runs and stuff. But like I went to college, like I said before, I went to college for vocal performance. So when I had private lessons, that helped me a whole lot. Just being able to control my voice, breath control, stuff like that. And yeah, yeah, for sure.
So you've mentioned going to college for vocal performance. Where did you attend?
I went to a couple schools. I didn't even graduate. I couldn't do it. I'm very stay in school, but I can't do it. I went to a private Christian school named Howard Payne University in Texas, and then I went to Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta.
You've had quite the year with the release of Before We Crash and, of course, 95 Civic. Talk about the world that you created and your vision with both of those projects, because both of those projects, to me, as the listener, kind of coincide with each other. So just walk me through your vision and how those came to life.
So originally we were just making 95 Civic. I had gone through a breakup. I was engaged, and that didn't work out for multiple reasons. Part of it was because I was a terrible partner at the beginning, like just bad, and then at the end, I just kind of wasn't present because I was doing this. Like I'm trying to achieve something, and I can't give my all to somebody else, and that's just how it boiled down. She had some problems too, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Right.
But so we started making. Honestly, it just started with me making what I was feeling in the moment. So I went to Jersey. I stayed at my at Colin's house for a couple months, just locked in his room making songs. Then we were also traveling. I was making songs in hotel rooms. Um, and then eventually when I came back to Houston to my apartment, Miz, our A&R, came and stayed with me. Um, and we were starting to work on the album, like putting songs together. And then he was like, "How do you feel about an EP too?" And I was like, "Let's do it. I have a lot of music." So he put it together. He put together an EP, like an order of it, the songs, and like a couple. I don't know if it seemed like a couple minutes. He probably already planned it, but he put it in a couple minutes. And we did this thing where we had numerous like women come through, because at the end of the day, we want women fan base. So we had women come to my apartment just to listen to music. And we played them the EP. They were like, "This is perfect. It's amazing." We played them the album. They like died.
They didn't leave your room.
They did no, they deflated. Like they didn't leave my room. It was crazy. They deflated. I wanted to give people a breakup album. But Miz was like, "We can't just give them a breakup album. We have to give them something to invest into." So we gave them the love, and then we took it away with the breakup album. And we tied it all together with a car. Basically, the person that I was with before that, both of us were born in 1995. And she used to drive a Honda Civic. So I just kind of tied those together.
That is one of the most remarkable stories of from an artist that I've heard in the creation of a project or a multitude of projects. Whose idea was that to say, let's bring some women in here and see how this music really is, just to get a fair judge of it? Because you are making some music for the ladies there. So whose idea was that? And was that just kind of on the fly type thing?
So honestly, ever since I've been making music to put out, I've been doing something similar, just having people. It hasn't always just been women though. Like, it's just been random people, and I'll be like, "Come through, listen to this," and take notes. But specifically just getting women to listen was Mrs. idea. He was like, "Nah, we just need to have women listen. We don't need, we're gonna let guys listen eventually, but we're just gonna let women listen, because that's who's cares." So
And I also like what you mentioned about let's give the fans something to invest in. Like there's it's like almost when you listen to both of the projects, you're listening to that first project before we crash, and you're almost it feels like as the listener you're invested in some like celebrity couple, and then it moves to 95 Civic and they're broken up and you have an attachment to that first project, which I really love. So I have to ask, did you guys actually crash a 95 Civic?
no, but we did buy that 95 Civic.
Ooh.
One of my jobs, I've had numerous jobs in life, and one of them was working like doing like regular maintenance stuff on cars. So I know how to take stuff apart and make it look like it's messed up. So I just took the car apart, so to take pictures to kind of make it look like it was messed up. But I have that car. I love that car. It's in my mom's garage right now in Katy, Texas. It's a dope car. People keep trying to buy it. I'm not gonna sell it. I love it.
No, no, man, that's a relic at this point, and I'm sure as your career progresses, that's a good thing just to go back to and remind yourself of that. That was, one of the things that started it and inspired, which I love. So you also went on tour this year,
Yeah.
right? What's your favorite memory from tour, and what's your favorite song to perform? What would you say?
Ooh, favorite memory from tour. To be honest, my favorite memory is going to. I don't want to say a specific city, but
Do you have a city ranking? I'll make the question even harder, I guess.
ooh, city ranking. I'm gonna put. Dang, they gonna hate me. I'm not gonna number them all because that's insane. But obviously Houston's the best, but we can't put them number one. We can't, because that'd be biased.
Okay.
We're gonna go Atlanta, um, and then we're gonna go Chicago, and that's where I'm gonna stop. That's where I'm gonna stop. My
Smart man. I love that.
my my favorite tour memory would probably just be going to a place where I've never had my own concert, like my own show, and seeing people sing my songs word for word. That is insane to me.
I
Like
always love to hear that
it's
from
wild.
artists. Like, what is that like? Because for me personally, if I was on stage singing my heart out and I heard people singing the lyrics, I'd be so, I don't know, just like weirded out. It wouldn't feel like real life, for example. So, do you sometimes, while you're performing, I know you're an emotional performer in general, but do you get a little emotional and like, holy shit, I'm doing this, that kind of thing?
Yeah, there's literally a video from the last date in Houston where we're doing better than him. And at the beginning, the whole crowd singing it. Like before I even when the song first starts, they're singing it, and I'm like smiling hard. And then I turn around and I go and I look at my guitar player, my producer Billy. I go, Billy, what do you say? And then start jumping loud, jumping hard. And everybody's literally screaming. It looks insane. I love it. I love it. That's the best feeling in the world is people knowing the words that I wrote. Like the fact that you listen to it enough to know the words is crazy to me. So that's great.
What's your craziest fan interaction?
Um, I'm a, I'll give you two. I'll give you a wholesome one. Mine is first of all, every single city that we did on this tour, someone drove more than 4 hours. Somebody, somebody drove more than 4 hours. I think we were in New York and somebody drove 8 hours just to come see me perform.
From like
And
upstate New York or
I don't
Pennsylvania?
remember. I don't remember where he was from. I forgot, which is unfortunate because I should remember that. But he drove 8 hours, and that was crazy. I was like, "That's amazing." He drove 8 hours just to see me perform is wild, but that's fire. That was my favorite, like that, and then another crazy. Um, you know, everybody likes to talk about men and how we are unhinged, but women are crazy. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Women fans are uncontrollable. Um, just either from touching me uh inappropriately or just trying to throw themselves at me. Like one girl was overtly just like, yo, um, I was in Atlanta and she was like, and I have a song called Round Trips to Atlanta, and I also have a song called Georgia because I love Atlanta. I love Georgia. She was like, "You need to stop fucking with these Atlanta bitches. Unless it's me, I'll fuck you right." I was like, "Oh my god, you gotta chill, bro. That is crazy. You gotta chill."
No,
I was like,
was this like after a performance, during a
"Yeah,
performance?
no, it was after the performance. It was like I was like at the merch thing, and there's just so many people around. It's like you don't care at all. This is wild. You don't care at all."
It's been harder for me than it may seem. Girl of my dreams.
But I wanted to touch on your stage presence, your stage design, along with your band. I've seen in plenty of videos that you have your microphone stand all dolled up with some roses and maybe some scarves. Describe that. How hands-on are you with your stage design and also just talk about your band a little bit too.
So originally I wanted to do more with my stage design. Like I wanted to have it look like a car crashed up there. Like I just wanted to have small stuff, like just like uh broken headlights and stuff like that. Maybe like car seats, but we just couldn't get it in a budget to do that. So I wanted to do something that would add some presence to the set. Um, so what I did was I went to like a when I got to LA, because LA was the first stop, I went to this like one of these little fake flower shops. I bought a bunch of fake roses, and every city I would, when I got there to sound check, I would wrap one of the mics. I'd be like, "Hey, this is my mic stand. I'm not letting anybody else use this." I'd wrap it with these red flowers, basically to remake the UPROXX video of me singing "Nightmares." I would wrap it with flowers, and that would be the mic stand I'm using for the whole thing. Also, I was like, we have to differ it because we were performing the EP and the album, and there was a set thing for the EP and a set theme for the album. So I was like, to differentiate between the first half of the set and the second half, I'm gonna go do a wardrobe change. So like, I would sometimes I would have to go into a closet like halfway through the set and go change while still singing, which was crazy. I think there's a video somewhere. Miz took a video of me like singing while changing clothes. It looks crazy. It looks crazy. Um, yeah, I just wanted to do small things like that to like kind of give people an experience as opposed to just I'm up here singing these songs. because they get to listen to it at home.
Right.
Um, my band is very, very, very amazing. On that tour, we had Billy Blunt, who's also my producer. He's like my brother. I'm in LA with him right now. We had Snoop on the drums. We had Charles on the bass. That was the main all the cities except for Dallas and Houston. Dallas and Houston, we had my keyboard player as well, MBK. We couldn't afford to take them on the other cities, but we definitely had to have them in Texas. They killed it. They smoked it. They did their thing.
You have an extra emphasis on your live performance and the experience that you're giving. Was there any artist that you grew up watching that maybe was an example of that? Maybe you've seen them in person, maybe you haven't, but what kind of inspired that mindset?
To be honest with you, I love Erica Badu,
Same.
and I've seen her perform a couple of times now, and it's always an experience. It's amazing from the fact that there's like a 10-minute just drum and instrument like intro before she even hits the stage, and there's this thing that they do where when she does hit the stage, every time she takes a step, they hit the kick, and it's like she walks with weight. It's crazy. It's amazing.
Ooh.
I'm like it's amazing every single time I see it. And then Tyler the Creator, I love how deeply he gets into character um for whatever he's doing. I love it. I love watching that. So I've always wanted to make sure that I'm not just up there. Because I mean, I could just go up there and that's cool. And I could still put on a good show because I think I could sing really well. But I want it to be like, y'all came into my world. Y'all came here into my world to experience this. So I want y'all to like be in the mindset I was in.
There's a bit of a theatrical characteristic to your live performance and to your music. You said how you love that Tyler the Creator stays in character. That's kind of a good segue to my next question here. So on the cover of 95 Civic, you introduced this aesthetic and look of having your face torn up, bloody and bruised with tears in your eyes. Talk about the character that you created and the makeup process behind that.
And what's implied with Before We Crash and 95 Civic is this car is symbolizing a relationship. Um, Obviously, it crashes. And usually, when you get in a car crash, you don't come out unscathed. And when you come out of a relationship, if it's a bad breakup, you don't come out, even if it is a good breakup, you usually don't come out unscathed. And the only possible way to show that, how internally you're feeling, would be to show the scars and stuff. So we came up with the idea of me just looking like I got in a car accident. Um, Now, makeup wise, that was a lot. I had to get makeup done. It took about 45 minutes to an hour every time. It was a lot, but it was really cool and it was worth it to keep this aesthetic going. I remember specifically when we went to go do UPROXX, my makeup looked so good that time. They didn't even know what was going on. Like I walked in, they were like, no one's ever did anything like this before. Cause like they didn't ask me about it. They didn't know what I came in with the flowers and I set up the mic. I was like, we're not asking permission to do any of this. We're gonna do it. Afterwards, I told them what was going on, and they were like, yeah, we were kind of scared to ask. Like, we didn't know if you just got in a fight and you just dedicated to come and doing this. I was like, nah, 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 it's for the thing. Cause I cried in that too. Like I cried in it. Like I was going crazy.
Were those real tears in your UPROXX performance, or were they fake tears?
They were real tears. Now, how we got them was different. I wasn't just crying. Like I can't just cry on command.
Right.
I probably could if I tried hard enough, but there's these things called tear sticks. And it's like menthol, and you rub them like under your eyes, and it makes them burn. So you're literally in pain. So I look like I'm in pain because I am. Like my eyes are burning, and I'm singing at the same time, and that's where the tears came from.
Oh
But
my
they
God.
are real tears. Like they are real tears.
The dedication to performance. I love that because I was watching that the first time I sat down and I watched that. I think it was like a clip on Twitter. It might have been a clip you posted. You were like, Twitter, do your thing. And then I had went and sat down and watched it. And I had so many questions because you did literally look like you were in pain. And I was curious as to how you captivated that feeling and the emotion in that too. When you recorded that, that's all live performance and singing. So when you pull up to places like UPROXX, or in the future when you have more opportunities like that, what's that process like for you recording something like that in comparison to live performance singing like on tour?
Um, it's kind of the same, except for when I'm doing it live at a show, I don't get a redo. Um,
Mm.
it's kind of the same though. Obviously for tour, we didn't have time to do my makeup like that in between me changing clothes and stuff. So I would just get a band-aid and put it on my face.
Yeah.
Um, but for the live performance setting stuff, not on tour, um, I just have more takes. Like for UPROXX, I think I did 2 takes. We just used the second one. Um, it's pretty much the same though. Yeah, it's not that much different. I'm still singing it live. I'm still going as hard as I possibly can.
I love that. So I always like to touch upon this with every artist I speak to. When I first heard your music, I heard Block Me when it was
Hmm.
released as a single. It actually popped up on my Spotify, and I instantly became a fan of the emotion in your music. So talk about that song and how it came to life. And did you mean to make the perfect breakup song?
No, I did not. Um, honestly, that song came just from a real feeling of knowing myself and knowing that I cannot help but look. I don't have the self discipline. I still don't. Well, I'm working on it now, actually. But at that time, I didn't have the self discipline to just not look. Like I knew if I looked, I was gonna get my feelings hurt, but couldn't help it. So it's just like, yo, just block me, bro. Like I'm not. I can't stop myself from looking, and I know I'm gonna be upset. Just block me. Um, honestly, I don't even remember when I made that song. To be honest with you, I know it was after that breakup, but I don't even remember when I made it. That one might have been one of the hotel songs, to be honest with you.
So that's I want to touch upon that. That's a very relatable song and a very relatable thing that you just said. Anyone who's ever went through any sort of breakup in a relationship, whether it was a long relationship or a short little stint, there's that little period at the end where you drive yourself crazy and you kind of it's like self-torture of, oh, I'm gonna go check this person's, I don't know, Instagram or Twitter. It's the age of social media. um, so when you're going through that breakup, are you the type of person? Are you a ghost guy? Are you just, oh, don't even want to think about this person anymore? Or does your heart keep kind of yelling at you and say, oh, let's check out what she's doing still, that kind of thing? I want to hear what that's like for you.
It's still kind of like that. It's still kind of like I gotta know what's going on. But recently, I've been I don't want to see it. It's none of my business. I'm gonna leave it alone type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in the back of my head, it's like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I gotta look, but yeah, I've been working on that, making sure I don't look at nobody's stuff if I know it's gonna upset me.
Your music is very emotionally vulnerable, as we've discussed. What are some things you do to get in the right headspace and inspired to write and record?
Um, interesting. So weirdly enough, when I was writing 95 Civic songs, I didn't do anything to get into the headspace to write stuff. I would just be, I want to write right now, and whatever would pop into my head is what I'm writing about. Um, so it was a little bit easier, I feel like, to pull from those emotions because it was what I was feeling in that moment. Now, how I approach stuff is when I hear something that I like beat wise or melody wise, I'll be like, okay, at the top of my note, I'll be like, what is this song about? And I try to make at least like 2 layers of the song. It'll be like, what is the song actually about? And then how are we going to make it about something else too? If that makes sense. Like there's a song called Jigsaw. I have a song called Jigsaw. It's not out. But it's basically about loving somebody else and it's about how we fit together. But the whole song, I'm just singing about a jigsaw puzzle.
Mm. It's
So
saying it without saying it kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. So I try to do stuff like that now. But usually I just sit down or I lay on the ground. I usually have some incense. I just burn those. That's just how I work usually. I like it to smell good. And just see what comes.
Now, are you a write lyrics first person? Do you hop on the mic and sing melodies first, then match lyrics to it? What's your creative process like when you're recording?
Um, honestly, I'm usually a listen, hum out some melodies, figure it out, get a voice note, and then write to that. I've been experimenting since being out in LA though, because I've been watching other people work and they all do different processes, and I've been just trying stuff out. I still like mine the best because I'm used to it, but I've been trying out other people's processes because they like comp stuff, and I'll be like, oh damn, that's crazy. Um, but yeah, I still like my process the most, to be honest with you. Just figuring out melodies and voice noting them, and then just writing to that.
So I love how you bring your music to life in your music videos. Talk about the creation of Nightmares and who you shot that with, and what was it like bringing the emotion of that song to life?
Okay, so nightmares. Man, uh, I shot that with my main videographer, Austin, also Smith. Shout out to Austin. We have two Austins in CXR. We have the videographer, and then we have Austin Good Luck. Um, uh, that one was kind of weird for me because I'm not gonna lie, I ain't see the vision fully. I didn't, but thankfully I trust my people because it came out really cool. But I originally didn't see the vision with that one. I was like, I don't really know if this is gonna look how you think this is gonna look, or if I even understand what you think this is gonna look like. But they killed that. They definitely smoked that. Yeah, I enjoyed that process too. They made me smoke a cigarette though. I don't even remember if that showed in the video. Like I thought they just like made me smoke a cigarette.
I'm trying. I'm trying. That's hilarious. I'm trying to think if I remember that. So did they do that to create a look, or they
It
wanted?
was they wanted me to be look like I was going through it. So I'm like, there's a scene where I'm like laying in a tub, like drinking straight out of a crown bottle. But they were like, light this cigarette and smoke it too. And I'm just smoking this cigarette. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to watch the video again. I don't know if any of that me actually smoke. I know drinking got in there, but I don't know if me smoking the cigarette got in the video. And it's just like y'all just made me smoke a cigarette for no reason. Like why?
For the sake of the take. And it's funny hearing that from you because you're a vocalist, and I'm sure you stay far away from
Yeah,
cigarettes or maybe some
yeah,
smoking sometimes. That's
yeah. I
how
don't smoke cigarettes. It's crazy.
that's hilarious. They're like, oh, all right, light this Mar bread to make sure you look like you're going through it.
Yeah, it's insane. I was like, what? Hey man, we got to do anything for the craft.
You've gotten some recognition, I'd say. I'm gonna uh, point that out over the past year or so from some big outlets, some artists that maybe you look up to. Talk about that feeling of seeing the fruits of your labor. I was watching Joe Budden, and they didn't know how to pronounce your name, but
They've
um,
never known how to pronounce my name. It's
which is
ridiculous.
wild to me. I'll shot that out for a quick second. Someone like Joe Budden or who else, uh, noticing your music and noticing the emotion in your music and the lyricism and the creative artistry in it. Who would you say is the kind of that one person that you heard that listened to your music that you're like, holy shit, that person knows who I am?
Honestly, it would have to be the person that I just dropped a remix with, Xavier. Um, I had Xavier Omar. I had actually met him twice before. Once I went to his show and I met him. Another time, we actually did a show together in LA. But I still didn't know if he had like listened to me for real. But I asked him to be a special guest at my Dallas show on tour, and he came out and he gave this speech, and I almost cried because he was like, Dende's told me Like he told me on the internet when we talked, he told me in person when we met last time that I inspire him because he really does. Like I've loved his music for a very long time. And he was just like, well, I just wanted you to know that you inspire me um by what you like what you're doing and dedicating yourself to like the whole production of it. I love it. And I was just like, oh my God, like that's crazy. Just somebody that I look up to as an artist, not only listen to what we made, but like got inspiration from it. It's really cool. Like that made me definitely feel validated.
Right. It's reassuring, hearing that for someone that you try to earn the respect of and you finally see that you have that respect. Oh, I love that story. Now, was that the remix to Flowers?
Yes.
Okay. Now that's a great remix. How long did that take to come about? Was that something that you had sent him or he was like, "Oh, I need to be on Flowers"?
No, so when I asked him if he would be a special guest on the tour, he was like, yeah, of course. The easiest way to do that would probably be for us to make a song. And I was like, we can either make a new song or you can do a remix of one of my other songs that I just put out. It would just help me push those songs anyway. And I sent him a bunch and he picked Flowers. Funny enough, we didn't even perform that at the show. he like he he just went and did Blind Man, and I love that song. So I was drunk. I just sang along with him. I was like, this is amazing. He played with my band. It was cool.
I wanna buy you flowers. Yeah, yeah.
Talk about where you are on any plans for new music, a new album. Where are you creatively while you think of your next endeavor?
Well, I know for sure there's still more legs in my last projects that we put out. We're still planning some more content. We're gonna get that shot and put out to help promote 95 Civic and Before We Crash because they still haven't gotten the amount of love that they deserve for sure. But also we're moving forward, and I'm always I never stop making music, so we've been making music this whole time. Um, we're about to start working on the next stuff. So be ready for that probably next year. Uh, yeah, but we're definitely still pushing the EP and album right now.
I love that. It's great to hear, and I'm really excited for to you to kind of get the recognition that you deserve. I think getting the recognition for 95 Civic and Before We Crash and kind of rethinking maybe how you present it on Instagram or TikTok to improve its, engagement, those kinds of things. I think it's a very smart decision to get as much as you can out of those projects while you can. Along with that, is it difficult for you to compartmentalize where your head's at creatively with 95 Civic and the music that you haven't released yet?
Mm, is it easy? I feel like it's two different people, to be honest with you. Like I've been blessed enough to be without like a better way to say it outside a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a lot of people, I see a lot of relationships, I see a lot of how people move. Um, and I just experience more things than like the average person that just stays in one place and works 9 to 5 sees. So I feel like I mature and move forward at a different rate than other people. And I feel like a lot of people that have the same type of lifestyle that I do can attest to that. So I honestly, even though it wasn't that long ago when I made those songs and I made that project, I feel like it's a completely different person. So it's not that hard for me to separate myself from that. Like even when I was on tour, it was kind of already a different person. I would have to get myself in that mindset to perform that music. Um, so I feel like once I put it out, I was already in a different space anyway. Um, so it's not that hard to be like, all right, this is where this lives, and we can go back here to make sure that we're still taking care of this, but we're over here.
I love that. I think that's very admirable as a creative to do that because sometimes our energy is kind of taken up by a bunch of different creative endeavors. So I'm happy to hear that you have a bit of a formula of the way to deal with that. Now, my last question is what are some life goals for you, whether it's music or personal life, that you have that you want to accomplish within the next year?
Ooh, the next year, I want to go on another headlining tour. Um, I want to go on a tour with a larger artist than myself. Um, I want to start dipping into an acting bag because I think I could thrive in that. I'm not gonna lie. Um, those are just the professional ones. Uh, Personally, I just want to make sure that my mental is 100% so that I don't go through because like people that are around me, they know that I be going through stuff pretty frequently. Recently, I've been in a better mind state, but like all through tour, and then I was in London right before tour. I was just going through it. So I just want to get to a place where I'm just like at peace. I mean, obviously, we're always going to go through something. We can't control everything in life. Something's going to happen. It's going to throw you off kilter. But I just want to be at a place where I'm like always, not always at peace, but the majority of the time, more than more than not, I'm just in a good mind state. I feel like that's a good goal to have for myself in the next year.
I respect that. I respect all of that. And I hope you manifest all of those things. And as we conclude here, I just want to set aside some time to thank you for your time, Dende. I really appreciate it. Huge fan of yours. And it was a pleasure talking to you about your creative process and even the upcoming music that you have. So, to everyone watching at home, you have plenty of music, plenty of content to go watch and go listen to. You got Before We Crash. Before that, we got A Happy Man, right? That's one of the best albums. And so we got Before We Crash to listen to, 95 Civic, and the music that he hasn't even released yet. You're watching Loud Music Only. I'm your host, A.T Bianco. Dende, thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.